welcome to VC the Venture Capital TV from La Token. Today we have another yet unique panel, unique topic, unique set of speakers. Today's topic is about investments into cybersecurity, enterprise IT software, cloud infrastructure, and the VC investments around it. Myself, those of you who don't know, I'm Sunny Mohanty. I'm the Regional Director of La Token, and I'm based here in Singapore. Welcome all of you. Today we have speakers from India, Israel, London, and Poland. Since I'm based in Singapore, I would like to go from east to west with the introduction. So I would like Anil, who is actually on the first time on our show, to start with a short introduction about yourself, and then we move to other speakers. Anil, over to you.
Thanks, Sony. Pleasure to be part of live, show with you and other panelists. I'm Anil Joshi, based out of Mumbai, India. I run a fund called Unicorn India Ventures, which is an early stage fund focused investing in India. We invest in tech-enabled ventures. We have few investments which are in fintech area, including cybersecurity, blockchain, micro lending, AI, ML. And apart from this, we also run a cross-border fund based out of UK. That's a brief about us. Thank you.
Wow, cross-border fund as well. Thank you. Welcome to our show, Anil.
Thank you.
Next, we have Samar from India as well. Hi, Samar. I know you were yesterday, but just for those who haven't, known you yesterday, so please introduce yourself.
Sure. Hello, guys. I'm Samar Singla, and I'm based out of Chandigarh, India, and I run two companies. I'm a full-time founder. So my companies are Jugnu and JungleWorks, and I invest as an angel investor. Typically in any sector, like fairly sector agnostic and early stage, founder driven. So most of the time it's a bet on the team, and we have a few investments so we are actually looking at a few companies in ARM based server space, so related to cloud computing, but mostly our investments are either in SaaS or consumer tech.
Excellent. Thank you, Samar, and welcome back to VCTV. Next, I have Zohar, who is in Israel right now. Hi, Zohar. Please help introduce yourself. Welcome to VCTV.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here. So my name is Zohar. I'm working with Elron. We're an early stage Israeli VC. We focus on enterprise software, cybersecurity. I'm leading all our cybersecurity investments. Before that, I spent over 20 years in military intelligence, doing cyber from every possible angle. My last position, I was the head of the cyber department in the Israeli Defense Forces. I retired as a colonel, and from there on, I moved to the fundraising arena.
Wow, what a career. Thank you, Zohar. Thanks for that. Next, I have, Poland. Chris from Poland, please help introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, thank you for inviting me and having me here. It will be great to share some insights on the cloud infrastructure. So I'm Chris from Innova Venture Partners. We are based in Poland, but we invest everywhere across Central Eastern Europe. So we are VC fund with 40 million euro under management. It's our second fund, and we usually invest at Series A and late seed stage. But sometimes we also invest in pure seed deals when we spot exceptional funders. And we are multi-vertical VC. We have most of our experiences in the B2B SaaS businesses, but we are open for new businesses too, new industries. Thank you.
Excellent, Chris. Welcome to VCTV again. Last but not least, Gillard, who is in London, dialing in from London today. Hi.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for inviting me. I'm one of the partners in Target Global. We are managing around 1 billion euro, different funds, early, late, and mobility funds. We invest in quite broad of topics, so cyber is one of them. Investing in Europe and Israel. We have 5 offices, around 50 people in the team. And prior to that, I led the business side in companies that were acquired by Apple and Google, and did some angel investment by companies that were acquired by American companies, mainly in the cyberspace.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So the warm-up session is done. I moved from east to west. Now I'm going to move from west to east. So Gillian, I'd like to start with you because you'll be obviously leaving us soon because you have other commitments. I'd like to start with you. Please tell us about your recent investments, maybe ticket sizes, and the regions that you invested into.
Yeah, so I will choose Hermetic. Hermetic is a company that was founded in Israel for serial entrepreneur. I invested as an angel in the CEO of previous company named Sikdu, who were acquired by Palo Alto Networks. And is a very unique, humble, robust individual. The other three founders, two sold companies to Microsoft, another guy sold the company to Temasek. Many funds wanted to invest in them, in the new company. They went with two very good funds in Israel, one American and one Israeli. We also joined, and later Accel recently led an up round, significant up round. The company is attacking or solving the issue of managing permission over the cloud. As you know, cloud become a very big thing into cybersecurity space, and big organization, it's very hard for them to manage who has permission for what over time. They came with a product that gained a lot of interest from companies in the space.
So these investments were done recently during the time of
the
pandemic?
Yeah, it was during the COVID. Actually, we were very active during the COVID. We did quite a number of investments in Europe and Israel. We didn't stop. And again, we are managing quite a lot of money. So you just go according to the opportunity. And this was, I would say, 3 or 4 months ago, an Accel round was announced quite recently.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. 3 and 4 months back. So they were growth stage, I guess. Sorry, I missed that.
This was from our early stage fund.
Oh, excellent. Early stage fund in the last 3-4 months.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Next, thank you, Gillette. Next, I have Chris. Yes, you know that, west to east.
Yeah. Okay. So since the beginning of the year, we did like 5 investments at Innovo, and we are about to close 6th transaction soon. One of them is in the scope of the topic of our panel today. So it's in the cloud infrastructure. But before I will tell you more about the company and our reasoning behind the investment, maybe I'll tell you something about the market. I think that the enterprises are used to pay a lot for infrastructure, like for cloud and so on. So it should be quite easy for startups in this niche to get decent scale quickly if they offer tools optimizing, for example, infrastructure costs. And I think that the recent trends that we can see are that DevOps are getting more and more popular. And for those who don't know, DevOps are people responsible for scaling and automation of the infrastructure. So DevOps are becoming norm, but some of the tools that these people use are pretty old. So for example, there is a tool like Jenkins, which is an industry standard, but it is like 10 years old. So last month we saw open view partners investing in Build Guide. They did like 30 million USD Series A round, and they are just building better tools solving old problems. So we, based on that, thought that there is also a potential to disrupt the old configuration management tools and so on. And we invested in Spacelift, which improves management of the cloud infrastructure via Terraform. So it operates in the very hot niche and can tap into the cloud market. But the other thing that also convinced us to invest was the founders. They are very exceptional. They have strong track record, and they experience the problem they are solving on their own. So that was also very convincing for us.
Right. So I might have just missed it. So all these investments were made in last month, did you say, or?
Yeah, it was done in the recent months, this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a positive news. Thank you, Chris, for those insights. So from Chris, I'm going to move to Zohar. Zohar, hi. Yeah, please.
Sure. So we also kept working through COVID-19. We didn't stop. Processes take a little longer because we cannot meet in person a lot of the people. So things take more time, but we're working all the time. So examples from this year. So the beginning of the year, we had the company that we're already invested in. We did a seed round, LC. They're in the Kubernetes security. They had another round led by Intel Capital. We, of course, participated. We then had a seed investment in a company called OneView. They are doing AI for satellite images recognition to be able to automatically identify objects in image from satellites. We're now closing an investment in a company called Envision in the space of API security. So we're working around the clock.
Wow, that's very positive news. Like, from a seed round also, I'm very actively investing in the space. Good news. Thank you, Zohar, for sharing those. Then I'm going to move to Anil. Thank you.
So thanks, Oli. I'll keep my discussion in two part. One, our recent investment, and then one what we have done in past, and how the current situation is benefiting that investment. So we have made investment in company called Chitmonk, which is leveraging blockchain and have built a platform to enable people to do micro transaction. So if I explain, you form a group of 10 people, and each person agrees to contribute, let's say $10 every time. So they form a group which works every week for 10 weeks, and each person contributes $10. And once they have contributed, a bid is made, and then people, whoever makes lower bid, takes away the money, and the rest is distributed among the people, right? So this, they have brought it on digital platform, and using blockchain technology to safeguard, critical information. Currently in India, it works in two way. One is, regulated, by respective federal government, and one is unregulated. So this company is basically using blockchain technology to digitize this industry, which is almost close to $20 billion. Would be more because there's an unaccounted numbers. So we felt there is a good opportunity to help developing industry and digitizing it. Incidentally, because of COVID, when people were not able to move around because of lockdown, this particular industry had a big impact. And the people bottom of the pyramid, if you look, people found it difficult, while some people had money, some didn't had, and this technology actually helped them come and transact on this platform. So this one investment we made, we believe this has a good opportunity to impact micro lending industry in some way. And blockchain is one which is helping, because transparency is one which everybody wants to secure. We have invested one more investment which is in cyber security. So I again will restrict my discussion to India, but it is now also impacting larger scheme of things across the world, right? We've been hearing about hacking, we have been hearing about phishing, we are hearing about cyber security. So we, when had our first fund, we are looking for a company because digitization was catching up in India, and also because of government policies, more and more people were getting banked. We strongly felt need of the cyber security needs. And considering the infrastructure what we had in India, we had very less companies which were working on this, right? There was largely dependence on companies from West, and a homegrown opportunity. We came across this company called Secure Tech, which was essentially working with financial institutes, large banks, and corporates, where today, if you look at, everybody have access to their data on several devices. Right now, for example, I'm on my desk, I'm using my laptop, but I also see some of our friends on this panel are using mobile, and then you also have tablets, right? So access is happening through several devices, which actually make you prone to both external and internal threats, right? I'm sure Johor would agree with me on this. So we felt, as digitization would increase, there would be a strong need for cyber security, and especially real-time security, right? Yesterday there is a small incident happened where Twitter account of our PM got hacked for very brief few minutes, and which was restored, right? So today everybody is prone to cyber attack, and that's made us invest in this company, Secure Tech, which we did it 3 years back. And incidentally, in pandemic, when everybody is working from home,
Yeah,
we are more vulnerable, right? More
totally.
vulnerable, considering the kind of networking we are using at home. Your home devices are connected, your personal devices are connected, and now you're also doing your home, your office work from home, is actually bringing more opportunity for hackers to get into the system, right? And our one investment in that, in fact, we have seen it's actually growing very fast. Not only in India, this company has just started working in US, and the product is very much appreciated because they have automated endpoint access, right? So quite excited. I personally believe that there is a lot of opportunity for each of us to explore cyber security, blockchain, crypto space. The technology is yet to be explored. We'll see many more application, and I see very bright scope and future for each of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Anil. You mentioned Twitter and brought back memories like Twitter, Elon Musk account, Twitter account,
Yeah,
Twitter
yeah,
got
yeah,
hacked
yeah.
a couple of, I think, months or days back. Thank you for that. I think because obviously Anil quoted Zohar. Zohar, you want to share something with regards to cyber attacks a little bit before I move to Samar?
I think the last 6 months since the COVID really broke worldwide, we've seen an incredible rise in the amount of cyber attacks. Cybercrime is definitely taking advantage of the fact that people are working from home, that there is a lot of confusion and uncertainty, and it's great excuse for phishing attacks. People are looking for information about COVID. People are looking for information about finding a new job. People are playing more online games. So even gaming is now more attacked because people spend more time and money there. So really, the sad, as if COVID itself isn't sad enough, there is the extra source that really cybercrime is just taking advantage of the fact that the world is under crisis, leveraging it to the best way they can, and they're making tons of money out of it with phishing, ransomware, etc., credential theft, fraud. We've seen fraud rises 100% in online retail because everyone went to online retail because they stopped visiting stores. So really, the crime just follows whatever happens step by step, and they're making great leverage of that situation, unfortunately. But for us, that's great opportunities for cybersecurity solutions.
Yes.
The need grows, the awareness grows. Organizations are changing the way they work, and that opens a lot of opportunities. There is a need for different type of solution. Trends that would have taken 3 years are now accelerated within months. The digital transformation trend leading everything, of course, is really got a tremendous push forward, and that again creates a lot of opportunities for IT, enterprise software, cybersecurity. So we're very happy with the market itself and where it's going.
Great. At least one of the industries which is flourishing because of the COVID-19. Thank you so much, Zohar. Samar, your insights, please.
So basically, since we are a very early stage investor and we don't really care about the sector, so I'll talk about the last few investments we've done. So the latest investment we did was actually a company called Q-in-One. So it's a company teaching coding and other skills like non-academic, like non-educational skills to children across the world. So it's based out of India, Gurgaon, and that's one. And the second company that we just invested is called Big Spoon, and that's a cloud kitchen company. So essentially, they're a group of virtual brands of food, which are just a pure cloud brand. There's no outlet or anything. So these are some of the investments that we are doing, and I think the one we are looking at right now is essentially trying to build ARM-based servers because of the lower cost and trying to sort of replace the AMD/Intel server monopoly. So that's that's about it.
So talking about cloud, do you think the on-premise cloud versus the public cloud, because of the physical distancing, people are moving to public cloud more?
Well, yes and no, because I think the movement to cloud really, like even if let's say somebody has to have an on-premise cloud and they have to manage it, it doesn't really take a lot of people. So I don't think that's the reason, but mostly having the reasons for having an on-premise cloud are mostly to do with data privacy and security. So I think I don't think COVID has changed much in that direction. I mean, at least from what I hear, the decisions are not really, managed or decided by that. But at the same time, I think, what has happened is because so many people are now working from home, it does make more sense to have things on cloud rather than on premise, because premise is essentially becoming virtual in a way. So yes, that's. But I don't know if it is a permanent change or not. So I don't think it's seen any impact yet.
Because I was actually speaking to a startup. They said that their end clients are banks, financial institutions, and because banks usually prefer to have on-premise because of the data sensitive. Yeah, and with the people working from home, I mean, was becoming very difficult for the banks to give remote access to the employees.
Yeah.
And because of obviously they are subject to a lot of cyber crime. So do you know any startups for solving this issue in the space, or we're gonna discuss later?
To be honest, that's not something I've come across, but I mean that would make sense that banks would face issues because they have everything on-prem, and now a lot of people are not working in banks, and in fact they also, like, I've seen instances where they don't even use VPNs, and they'll say, okay, you can only access the network when you are physically in the building. So I mean, to be honest, it's a good problem statement. I should think about it, and I've not come across anybody. Yeah.
Great, I just gave you a problem statement over there.
So,
Great.
Tony, if you allow, would like to share something on this last point. I think
Yeah, sure.
this has certainly impacted some of the industry friends, especially KPO and BPO, right? Where it was on premises and you needed to maintain secrecies and transparencies and ethical practices, right? And having access to information on my device at my home always made things vulnerable. and that actually impacted most of the companies and clients across world during lockdown, because while we told and we said that work from home is new cool, but it was actually very painful for people who were dependent on premises data, right? So access to those in absence of security was one big issue, which of course we had been talking. But second was also ethical, and data security was another issue, right?
Yeah.
And I remember I had one investment where of course it's more to do with platform
Mm.
as a service, but they
Yeah.
realized that this is a big problem which everyone is going to face, whether you are dependent on data in premises or not. How do you trust that your information is secured?
Yeah.
And they came up with certain tools which enable organization with workforce of around 50,000 to 500,000, allowing them to work from home. And just imagine today, if I have somebody in office, I have x dollar cost, right?
Yes.
And if I use technology and necessary security tools, that cost reduces by 90%. So
Mm.
coming to your another question, how it is impacting startup, I think now startups have so it's a great cost saving. And I'm not sure about other countries, but in India, the statistics says that the productivity have gone up by work from home.
Yes.
So one concern which organization had, that if people work from home will impact the productivity, which is not the case. And hence considering this opportunity, many people have started allowing people to work from home. Two things happened. One, I'm not dependent on real estate access. Secondly, it also allows me to recruit people from anywhere. Just
Absolutely.
imagine if I have an office in Mumbai, or if I have an office in Singapore,
Yeah.
and if I can't recruit somebody from Singapore, and if I can recruit somebody from Israel, oh, wonderful, right? So that is the benefit industry have seen because of this pandemic. Of course, we have a lot of negatives, but this has also given us a lot of positive sides.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but I thought I should share this.
No, no, these are very good points. I mean, I totally agree with you, your insights, Anil. I mean, productivity has gone up for sure. Like, we all have to agree on that.
Oh my
Um,
God, I've been working 16, 18 hours, so I don't know about my friends on panel, but life have become mess during because of work from home.
the fatigue, the virtual conference fatigue is there, but I think in terms of output, work output, obviously we are generating more results than before, I guess, because
Yeah.
the only thing we are doing is working, as you rightly said. Okay.
Sunny, if I can just address what you discussed before, the move of banks and financial institutions to the cloud, which does seem to be accelerated because of the shift to working remotely. And they usually encounter serious issues with regulation regarding data and privacy. And that has been an obstacle for some of them to move to the cloud until very recently. So now some of them are making serious compromises because the need is there. They have to move forward, and they have to allow their employees to work remotely. Some of them are accelerating programs that they had to deal with data privacy and regulation issues. I know that very closely because one of the companies we're invested in, Kindite, so they have a solution, an end-to-end encryption solution, which let the organization keep the keys always under the organization. The keys never go up to the cloud. And that is a part of what regulation demands of some of those banks, that the cloud infrastructure does not have access to the data. And so the management of keys and the end-to-end encryption also when it is in use, these are important issues for some of them. These are real obstacles for moving to the cloud. There are solutions already out there in the market, still an early stage market, but things are happening. But I think that that really addresses more the IaaS part of the cloud. There is also an accelerated move to the SaaS part of the cloud. There things are sometimes easier, but also sometimes still data privacy regulation are still obstacles. And again, encryption and key management solutions are in need to allow these big financial institutions, heavily regulated, to move to those services. And we're working on that direction.
Yeah, I think you touched upon a topic that I trying to remember incident that happened because of the keys. The keys were kept in the cloud, and it got hacked, and it created a lot of havoc. I mean, I'm trying to remember which it was, but I remember that. Okay, thank you, Juliet. Would you like to share the current trends, challenges?
Yeah, maybe just comments about moving institutions like insurance companies and banks to the cloud. I would say there were three obstacles. One was cognition. You used to come to a bank and they felt like in the old days, this is the fortress. The employees come, they are being checked. They cannot take out their computers sometimes. They felt very, and they should have, because they need to protect something that is very, very costly if it's not being well protected. And everything was on-prem. And this, over time, you see now that there's more and more willingness. I understand there are more and more solutions, not to have it on-prem, but still to have it very secured. And also to enjoy things like more compute and other benefits that the cloud offering. The second thing was usability. There were some things that the cloud didn't offer. I was, for example, part of Elastifile. We offer file system over the cloud. You used to have on-prem. If you didn't have NetApp solution or other on-prem solution, the cloud couldn't offer a good file system with a very good performance, persistent one. And now Amazon and Google and others do offer such a solution over the cloud that are as good as the ones on-prem. So the second one was the usability. And the third one was the banks are offering today or developing more and more apps that are not in their core security or the most secure data are sitting on them. It can be HR apps, it can be travel apps that their employees are using. And because of that, they are less, let's say, or more willing to move those applications to the cloud. And this is the door that being open, and through there, they are starting to love this idea.
Yes, I agree. HR, travel, they all can move to the cloud because they don't hold the sensitive data. Yeah. Thank you for those insights, Juliet. Chris, over to you. Current trends, challenges.
Again?
Oh, thank you, Juliet. I just said, Chris, over to you. You're on mute, Chris. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. This is the question about the general challenges due to COVID, like what has changed because of the coronavirus.
Yes,
also,
current, yeah.
I would say that our take was similar to other funds. So when the coronavirus started, all the VCs looked at their portfolio companies just to perform quick triage and just to see which of our companies will struggle in the new reality and which one will be boosted 10 times. I believe that most of the funds had both cases. So some of the emergency plans were required. And I think that the current challenge for all the VC funds is doing deals without face-to-face meetings with the funders. It used to be an important part of the deals. Now some venture capitalists say that they can't imagine that they can do a deal without meeting entrepreneur. But in Poland it's much easier because the situation is much better than, for example, in the US. So we are able to do this. But I can imagine that it is challenging for other geographies.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge not meeting founders physically before you're pumping in money, but I think this is what we have accepted as the new normal. We're closing deals on the Zoom calls now. Thank you for adding those insights, Chris. So we are 30 minutes into the session. So next 30 minutes, I like to have another set of questions. Before that, I like to know if any of the speakers have got any burning question for other speakers. Like let's keep it more engaging. I mean, if anybody on the panel today has a question for their co-speaker? Anyone?
So, just picking up, from your last point, in fact, we also invested in a couple of companies, over Zoom call, WebEx, phone, WhatsApp, right? I
Yeah.
think 3 companies we have done it. Of course, it's a weird experience. Normally, as a VC, we definitely want to spend time with team before we write check. Of course, we came across something very interesting through very strong reference, and we landed up investing. And that's has been very odd experience. I don't know. Time will tell. How we will fare, but would love to hear from my friends on panel. Whether they did it and how has been their experience, and
Great.
any point they would like to highlight. Which we should be careful. While writing the checks.
Great question, Anil. Who would like to take this question first?
I can speak from our experience. Yeah, it is more complicated to invest in people without ever meeting them face to face. We're missing the body language. We usually have that exactly. That's it. But what we're missing a lot of gestures. We are lacking the intimacy. So for us, it's first of all spending more hours like that, because what I can sometimes learn on someone in 30 minutes face to face, it will take me 2-3 hours via Zoom. So it's more hours invested in getting to know people. And the second thing is we're doing many more personal references on the founders. So we will go and much deeper and longer, and try to find as many angles of references as we can to establish that we understand the profile and we understand the person, and we build the trust based on their history. And history is always subjective, so we're trying to have as many data points to have the best picture that we can get, which is never perfect, but to do the best. So overall, it's investing much more time and effort in getting to know founders and understanding who they are and what they are. As part of what I said earlier, processes are longer now. That's part of it. We need more time and effort to build the trust, to invest in someone. It's doable. It just takes more time.
Totally.
Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing, Jor. Similar views here, but I can share one thing that what we did. As I said, time will tell. We did one thing. We have tranched out, our payments. Right. That way, at least it gives us, scope to, help improvising certain factors if need be, and also have necessary, capital reserved, for companies to perform when things looks normal.
Okay, great, thanks. Anybody else would like to share something additional, like the challenges faced by for closing a deal on Zoom call? Juliet?
Yes, I would say even once you decide about doing the deal, the problem or the advantage of meeting people face to face is that when you are negotiating, you can escalate, or you can, reach to certain tension between the sides. But because you are in the same room, it will be solved. Yeah, you go after to dinner, you go to lunch, no one leaves the room, he's stuck with you, you are stuck with him or her. And this is a big advantage where you are negotiating someone or even learning someone. One of the sides can corner the other side, but in the end of the day, you need to solve it. I mean, you came to meet him or her, or she came to meet you. And this is a big advantage. And when you are doing Zoom call, if things are escalate or there is tension in negotiation, someone just leave the call and that's it. It can discontinue the relations. And because also that it puts, let's say, strict borders about what you can say in call and what you don't say in a call, rather than with someone in the room. And that I agree with my colleague before that spoke about it. The way we solve it is, one, we still fly. Like most of the people actually founders appreciate a lot that you come to meet them, especially now. So we travel as much as we can. We have a big team and 5 offices, so it gives us unfair advantage sometimes. But we want to meet the founder face to face, and we will do a lot in order for that to happen.
Okay. That's again a good point and a great challenge as well. I mean, traveling during these times, how convenient that is.
Actually, Europe is back to normal. It's quite open, and in Israel we have an office, and you can travel to Israel. So in the territories that we invest, you can travel. It's a matter of decision.
Okay, that's good news. Thank you, Juliet. If nobody else has any question for the co-speakers, we move to the next question. So I would like to know from each of you, like obviously you have portfolios under you, a founder or a startup that has amazed you in the recent times because of the way they pivoted or they extended the services to fit in during the crisis. If you understood my question, I'd like to start with Anil. If not, I'll clarify it again.
Can you repeat, Suni?
So basically, Anil, you have portfolios on the like portfolio of startups. So a startup that you have that amazed you by the way they pivoted because of in light of the pandemic, because obviously probably the revenues are going down, and they realized they have the technology, they have the skill set, they could just move or expand on the existing services, and you thought, oh, yeah.
No, so it's very interesting. I will share 2 examples. One, we have a company called Farak, and this company basically is a platform enabling medical retail stores to place online order on distributor for replenishing stocks at their end. And during pandemic, we all know that movement of people was an issue. Movement of course I'm talking about India. We're not so as lucky as Gillard, but we actually had a lot of restrictions, and this platform which enabled people to place the order, but the big issue about logistics supplies was still was a big concern. And this company then decided to see if they can solve this piece, because they have access to orders made by retailers on distributors. So they actually started assimilating, they formed a team, and they went live with 2 cities, and today they process almost around 100,000 orders a day, right? So this actually has helped them grow their daily order book. They enable processing almost around $4-5 million worth of medical supplies. I'm talking about tablets and medicines and syrups, and which is being retailed at medical stores. So this is a great example how people adopted to opportunity, where they were just enabling order processing, then also got into end-to-end fulfillment, and which has benefited not only them but also ecosystem. That's one example. Second, I will just elaborate the previous example, where I was talking about this company which is called Shepherds, which is in platform as a service. And they actually realized that work from home would be a big problem. And some of my friends on panel have also spoken about moving data from your premises to cloud. One of the biggest issue which was being
Anil, sorry to interrupt. Can you be a little louder? I think.
Yeah, sorry. So so one of the problem which companies were facing, allowing access to employees working from home, and they felt that they can use some of their IPs and come up with a solution which helps companies to have a confidence. So they used some of the available features in laptop, right, like your camera, your movement, the way you operate files, whether you are working or not working. And that actually helped them pivot from what they were doing earlier to enable people allow to allow their employees to work from home, right? This is again great example. The company which would probably would have gone out of work for some time, leveraged their existing tools, burn midnight oil, came up with a product in 15 days time, and
Wow.
now is enabling thousands of people work from home, right, which otherwise was near impossible, right? So these are the two examples I can share about our portfolio. Of course there are several. We have several examples in India where you know a boutique store went into supplies of groceries and vegetables, right? Because they had to be in business, right? So these are odd examples, but on tech front, these two examples I would like to share. Thank you.
Great. Awesome. Excellent. Thank you for sharing those examples. We would like to know more examples from Samar.
So sure. I mean, so a lot of companies, when this COVID thing hit, of course, there were companies who became hot also. So I'll not get into those, but there were some companies, for example, Fitzo was a company we were investors in, and they were doing fitness meetups, but in person. So they pivoted pretty quickly to a pure online model, right? So that is pretty inspirational. But at the same time, I mean, some of the companies we are seeing are actually following a different route. That they're saying that, okay, we'll actually just do what we are doing and wait out the storm. Because I mean, uh, like there is one thesis that if you have a crisis, you kind of pivot. But then there is another thesis that if you have something good going, you might just pivot to something that's not that great or not that differentiated. So I think from that perspective, so there's this one other portfolio company called Rupeek, which is which does gold loans in India. So they were supposed to visit the person and collect gold and like verify things from them, right? So they started to do it. I mean, they still had to carry and do all those things. So they couldn't completely pivot. But what they did was they kept generating leads and made a pile of like orders to be processed. So essentially, they were able to not let their business suffer, but have a slight lag into it. Like so I think from that perspective, startups have been pretty fast to adapt to things. So yeah, I mean, these are two examples that come to mind.
Yeah, great. I mean, I agree to what you just said. Startups are the ones who've shown a lot of resilience during this time. Thank you, Samar. Juliet, I'd like to go with you next because you'll be leaving soon. So, in the cyber security space or cloud space, have you come across any startup that has pivoted from where they were before COVID and during COVID?
I think in the cyberspace, no. And companies that has technology depth, it's quite hard to pivot. I think companies that some of them gamble on things in cyber that are doing much better now, like cloud over on-prem infrastructure, application development that is in the rise now, or consolidating tools to application developments, things in the DevOps space that also rising very well now. I think there were companies that I've seen that were afraid they would not meet their KPI for the next round, and they felt that they need a bit more room, especially, for example, Israeli companies. They said we will not meet clients abroad, then we will not be able to show for A round or B round that we have X amount of clients in the US. And then some of them, had to adjust their budgets. I think the ones that did very well are the ones that were very, very transparent with their employees. One, two, that their management took on themselves to show example on whatever they ask from the employees, to do the extra step as the management. And I would say those companies that had a good product before finishes the company in a much better and healthy way than they entered to it, because the team become much more close, much more focused, And also the budget now is, while they found out later that the client's still joining via Zoom and other, the budget was adjusted a bit down. So actually the company will meet their KPI in a better way.
Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting use case. I'd like to ask another 2 questions to you, Gillard. So what's your investment strategy or roadmap for this year?
So again, we have early stage fund, we have growth fund, we have mobility fund. So on each one, there is its own strategy. And also we are working on many countries. So, you know, we need a full offsite day to review each one. There are things that I think as a fund, we did historically quite well. So insurance, for example, tech or payments, mobility, we did quite well. And I would say that those things, we had the luck to invest in things that now doing better. We weren't exposed to things that, you know, lagging or took hit as a big portfolio. We have over 70 companies, so some of them are being hit. But overall, I think it's good. Strategy-wise, there are just several segments that we like, as I said. But I wouldn't say that because of the COVID, we suddenly said we are dropping whatever we did and now we are doing something else. I don't think it's healthy, because as a VC, you need a sustainable model.
Right. So in our portfolio, we have a lot of startups in the space, cloud computing, cyber security, who some of them have blockchain technology, underlying blockchain technology, and they are actually incorporated in Israel, Europe, and London. I mean, UK. Yeah. Are you open to explore or talk to them?
So I would say blockchain is something we are very excited about, but we haven't seen many companies that came and says, this is how I'm going to do money from that. And many times the one that come to you, you found out that there are other ways to do it. You can do things with synthetic data over encryption. You can do, and zero trust or other things. I think that there will be companies that will solve it, because also the big ones like IBM, insurance companies, Google are pushing for that. But I wouldn't go now and, you know, put all my money into it. We have some investment in that space, but it's not huge exposure. We are very careful.
Right, but you'll still be open to talking to them just to filter out?
Yeah, very much. But they need to prove 2 things. One, that they didn't put the blockchain in order to raise money, because it's, you know, it's like every 2 years you have the new segmentation you see in all the presentations. So, you know, it will be cloud, it will be software defined, it will be now it's blockchain. So one, that the blockchain is truly necessary in the solution. And the second thing is that the solution is truly can create a company that will be, you know, $1 billion company.
Excellent. Got
Thank you.
Before you leave, what are your feedback? What is your feedback about our VCTV? What do you think? Do you like it?
So it's my first time, and I think it's a great thing, very informal and very educating. So thank you very much for this experience.
Awesome. Thank you, Gillard, for
thank you very much.
taking part in our show, and hopefully we'll speak soon.
Thank you.
Okay, so Gillard obviously left us. I would like to ask Zohar about, like, what's your investment strategy for this year? And are you looking to explore new startups within your region?
Sure. So I agree with Gilad. Our strategy, and I said it before, we kept on working through the COVID crisis, which hasn't really ended. But we kept working as usual. We're fortunate enough to be in spaces that weren't hit because of the crisis. Moreover, they are leveraging the crisis to grow. When you look at predictions for different spaces and segments for this year and the next few years, so enterprise software and cybersecurity are one of the very few segments that are expected to keep growing. So for us, there's no need to change the strategy in that sense. I'll say even double down on what we're doing, because it seems like these are really hot spaces. They're expected to grow faster. So we have all the faith in that space. Just regarding blockchain, so we took a very deep dive into blockchain a couple of years ago. At the end of it, we decided that blockchain as it is a space that we're not prepared to invest in yet, because we cannot understand business logic. We cannot analyze the market based on anything. We did one investment in sort of that space. We invested in a company that produces a crypto wallet. They're called Zengo. They have a unique new crypto wallet. That was as far as we were willing to go, because we understood that this, no matter what the use case or which type of crypto will win, sort of to say the race, they will all need a crypto wallet. So we went on that very wide common denominator. But choosing a specific use case or a specific chain, it seems for us today almost impossible. So we need to see a real market that we can analyze with traditional market analysis tools, that we understand the motivations in the market, that we understand how to predict the growth, to understand who's the buyer, why does he want to buy the product. Until we feel there's something concrete around there, it'll be very difficult for us to invest in other blockchain initiatives. But at least for now, with the crypto wallet, we're quite happy, because as I said, no matter what you want to do with the crypto world, you need a wallet. So that's something that that we do see expanding, and we feel very good with that investment.
Zohar, I'm really happy that you actually brought that up, because we have a lot of crypto wallets and crypto payments startups on our portfolio. You never know, you might just like them. Thank you. Next would be Chris, and then I go Anil. Chris, so what's your investment strategy and roadmap for the year? And yeah.
Sure. So as I told you at the beginning, we are generalist funds. So we look at many different industries. We are not limited to only one or two verticals. So we did investment in the DevOps space at the beginning of this year, and after that we noticed that there is much more opportunities to take advantage of, especially in terms of security. For example, there are some DevSecOps tools that might get more popular soon. So we are investigating this area now. And when it goes to blockchain, we also analyzed it, but our opinion was that you need really deep knowledge, deep understanding of blockchain to invest. And we don't have it right now, so we don't invest in blockchain at the moment. But I saw some interesting applications of the technologies in the last month. For example, I saw a startup that was automating the split of royalties from movies via blockchain. And I think it was the most interesting application of the blockchain I've seen in the last month.
So what was that? What automating royalties from the movies?
Yeah. I mean, if you have a movie, then it's distributed via cinemas and other providers, other shops, and producers get part of the revenues, right? And normally, these revenues goes like a waterfall, so like from one entity to another, and it takes a lot of time. And via blockchain, it could be accelerated to 2 weeks. So if you can have like money in a week instead of a year, that's an improvement, right?
Oh, that's interesting, and good to know that you're exploring that project, which is based on the blockchain technology. That's very interesting. Thank you, Chris. Anil, I know you are very pro blockchain technology, because you know the advantages and the benefits that brings to a microcredit platform or a lending platform. Are you looking to explore more startups out of India? Because India is it's a very big market and there are a lot of creativity and obviously the other markets as well, but we see a lot as well happening in India. So what's your roadmap like for this year?
So, incidentally, we are quite lucky. Couple of reasons, right? It's a large domestic market, right? Almost 16, 17, 18% of population resides in India. Our infrastructure is improvising, and with digitization and adaptability, to this technology and access to data, actually have offered many more avenues for businesses, right? So India is actually offering renewed opportunity, to us and entire world. So we are quite bullish, right? The reason we landed up investing over Zoom and WebEx was opportunities are actually available, right? Of course, we are in a business of risk. We take calculated risk, and if you have comfort around team and opportunity, you land up investing. So we already made 6 investments in this 4 months. Our financial month starts from April, right? So we already made 6 investments in 4 months. Four are public, two will get announced, in coming weeks. We are quite bullish about India. I think a decade or so will offer us many more opportunity. What we are seeing, the way stock market is giving thumbs up to all digital platforms. We feel that India will offer many more such opportunities for us to look at. So if you look at the fund, at fund we are quite bullish about platforms which are digitizing the existing way of doing business, and that's how we have made business, right? Whether it is even leveraging blockchain, or we also have investment in insurtech, right? And that's also is basically leveraging digital platform using AI and ML, right? So we're quite bullish. We'll keep investing. We keep looking, for more and more opportunities. Since we already made 6 investment, I think maybe a break of a month or so. But we keep, our eyes open, ears open, and continuously, keep scouting for, good opportunity.
Great,
Like
that's
for
a smart
example,
investor.
look, I'll just take few more seconds. Look at travel industry, the way it has been impacted, right? People have restrictions on travel. Not everyone is lucky to travel. Today if I have to travel to Singapore, it's a task for me, it's a project for me, right? But I think there will be a time when we'll have many more things contactless, right? Getting approval of your visa, I don't need to go to visa office, issue of certain approvals. I think the way things are shaping up, I see a lot of disruption even happening in travel industry and hospitality industry, and that will offer us a unique opportunity going forward. So quite bullish about India, and the way things are getting digitized. Thank you.
Great, that's such a positive, on a very positive note, we're ending the show. What are your feedback? How did you, what's the experience about this show and what do you have to say?
Oh, it's quite interesting. Got opportunity to meet friends from different continents and geography, listening their views, exchanging notes. Thanks. I know it's a different time zone. Everybody, is having different time zones. So thanks for having this show and inviting people from different geography, enabling them to share their views. A lot of learnings. I'm very excited to be part of this and look forward to share more views as we progress in time. Thank you very much. Good show. Best of luck.
Thank you, Anil. Thank you for those encouraging good words. We'd love to have you on our more forthcoming panels as well. Zohar, I'd like to ask you the same question. What was your experience being on the show today?
Yeah, it's been great. I love the opportunity to meet new people from across the globe. The atmosphere feels great. Everyone's open. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Great, fantastic. We love that. Chris?
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. I think it was very exciting to listen to opinions of other VCs on the market that I'm interested in. So yeah, I hope that I will have opportunity to participate in the panels more often.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what we want. We want speakers to be back on our panels again. Thank you, Chris, and lovely to hear from you and your insights from coming from Poland and Europe. Samar, I know. I mean, you were there yesterday. I love your commitment to this show, and I really have to thank you before you say any good words about me.
No, thanks to you. I mean, to be honest, I'm just learning a lot. I'm not a full-time investor, so I'm an angel investor, and it's been good so far. But it's mostly been we just go with the gut and invest in the team. But now listening to all these guys, I'm really I'm learning a lot. I'm just really trying to understand. Can I start formalizing our process of investment and try to be more methodical about it rather than just gut feel. So I hope I learn from you guys, and so thanks a lot for this opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you. As a yesterday just mentioned, I myself have learned so much just by talking to people like you, that it's enormous amount. I wouldn't have just gone to any school or university and gotten this education that I've gotten just by speaking to great minds like yourself. So that's why I am here Monday to Friday. I come every day at 8 p.m. Singapore time to host this show, to moderate this show, and meet speakers like yourself. So I'll be back again tomorrow. You can watch us, watch all our events throughout the day, not only in Asia, we also have shows running in US time as well. You can go to our website, www.latoken.com and stroke events. So you can see all the forthcoming events for this week and for next week and the months. Also, you can see your profiles getting featured on our website. So it's www.latoken.com/profiles. So we would encourage every one of the speakers and the investors today, just have a look at the website. And we are also happy to take feedback from you on that. Thank you so much. That brings us to the end of the show. We are on time, and have a great day. Stay safe, stay connected. I will
Thank you. Bye bye, guys.
Again. Bye.
Bye bye.
Nice to meet everyone.